changing. We're flying high, creating a complaint-free world. No more, no more complaining. People, their lives are changing. We're flying high, creating a complaint-free world. No more, no more.
I want to talk with you today about what I'm calling Sim Me. There's a game that my daughter used to play called Sim City. I've never played it before, but I hear it's very, very popular, and I've heard a lot of people comment about this game, and a lot of people play it. I think I understand the gist of it, although I've never played, and the gist from what I understand is it's simulation city, Sim City, and you literally build a city from the ground up, from the infrastructure underneath the streets, from the subways to the pipes and the electricity and the water and everything else. You build it, and then you pave it, and then you add the people to run it, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's a very interesting game from what I understand. To me, it sounded like work, so I just never got into it. It occurred to me doing these interviews for Develop Your Potential 2021, and it's like 10 hours of just great advice. I was, unfortunately, because I'm the interviewer and it's a two-screen shot in many cases, I'm actually sitting there, and so I couldn't take notes. But the good thing is I can go back now and take notes on all the wonderful advice that was coming. And sort of the overall thing that I took away from this is number one, that we don't like to admit it, and it's one of the main reasons we complain, which is to remove ourselves from responsibility. We don't like to admit it, but as we look around, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 12, 20 areas of our lives that we're dissatisfied with, and that in many cases we're blaming whoever built this, not realizing that at some level we built it. One of the things I'd like to think about is, remember the movie Heaven Can Wait with Warren Beatty? In the movie, Warren Beatty is a football player who's supposed to die, but he's actually not supposed to die. He's supposed to have a near-death experience, but the angel of death drags him out of his body, and then they realize they've messed up, so they put him into a completely different body. But to the world, everybody sees the old, let me see if I can explain this. Guy's name is Farnsworth. He is dying, so they put Warren Beatty's body into him. Now, by putting his consciousness into this body, the consciousness began to make the choices of the previous body. In other words, healthier, happier, nicer, even playing the clarinet, things that the other guy never did. And I often think about this. If you're looking at your life and you're dissatisfied in an area of your life, what would it be like if someone took over your body or your life in that area? And this is not just a mental exercise. It's powerful and it's transformative. I'm probably where I got it. I saw Tony Robbins 30 years ago, at least 33 years ago in Seattle. And there was a woman there who struggled to talk to men, just could not talk to men. So what Tony did was he spent about 15, 20 minutes with the woman on stage, sitting in a tall chair next to him and inviting her to imagine someone who was able to talk to men and who could feel confident and look men in the eyes. And he actually had done a test before he did this. He brought the woman up and brought a man up, and the woman's eyes went down, and he asked her, who do you think find an attractive man? She did, and he brought her up, and the woman just shrank. You could see it. So he had her imagine who would be able to go up and talk confidently to men. Who did she know? Who in popular culture, who in her own life was comfortable enough to just walk up and be confident the way she wanted to be confident. And he had her visualize that this person entered her body, absorbed into her body, just like in Heaven Can Wait. You know, you've got one consciousness going into the same body, but this was a mental exercise this woman did. And this went on for, Tony Robbins, 20, 30 minutes. And finally, when, he had her open her eyes and she felt confident, he had her then choose another attractive man in the audience and invite this man up. And when he came up, she walked right up to him, stuck out her hand, shook his hand, looked him in the eye, said she thought he was attractive, etc. It was such a transformation. That, in my mind, is an example of me, of creating the life that you want by creating the consciousness that you want. It occurred to me that when you're building this Sim City, if you're playing this game, you must have some sort of an idea of where you want to go, right? You must have some idea of where you want to go. And when I interviewed Rock Thomas yesterday, who's going to be part of Develop Your Potential 2021, I asked him, I said, okay, bottom line, of all the things you've seen, of all the things you've experienced, what is it that keeps people from feeling satisfied in their life, feeling happy, and achieving what it is they want? And he said, honestly, they don't know what they want. They don't know what would make them happy. They don't know where they want to go. They think they know. When we say, I want to be rich, feel love, and be happy, I mean, that is so generic. And the universe, as Joe Vitale says, who's also part of our Develop Your Potential 2021, the universe deals in specificity. So if you're going to build a city or if you're going to build a life, you want to know what it is you want to build. Where do you want to go? What kind of an infrastructure do you want? Where do you want to be financially? What's the bank of you going to look like? Where are you going to be with your career, your feelings of connecting with other people, your sense of fulfillment, your sense of contribution? Where is it you want to be? And then you begin to build in that direction. One of the things that struck me yesterday, and I kept coming back to things Rock was saying, because he would say something and I would come back and say, what you're saying is neutral. And he would make a strong point. And I'd say, what you're saying is neutral. And then I would clarify, and that is that you can be very, very, very clear about where it is you want to go, and you can have an idea of what it would mean success to you or what it is you want. And you can begin to think of that, and you can begin to focus on that. One of the things I shared yesterday, Adam Mortimer, in my interview with him, talked about that the bigger the vision, the more mental energy it takes to visualize it. Therefore, it actually creates mental energy. But when I asked Rock, what is the thing that keeps people from being focused? He said, they just don't know what they want. They really don't know what they want. People think they know what they want. All they know is what they got isn't what they want. And that's kind of the amazing thing too. Sometimes we walk around in this quiet discord about a certain area of our lives, a marriage, a friendship, whatever. And then we don't actually sit down and say, is it something small and addressable, or is it something really, really big? And is what I've got really good? And can I just overlook it? Because ultimately, we always have that choice in every situation to change how we think about something. It's not easy, but we can do that. So, how would you like to sim you? Imagine your life is a video game and you get to choose from health, happiness, relationships, finances, spare time, vacation, hobbies. What is it you would like? It's harder today to discern that than ever before. It's really difficult. And the reason is that we are so distracted by these things, which are designed to distract. I don't even have notifications turned on my phone. The only thing I get is notifications from my employees, but I don't get any other notifications. And yet I still find myself compulsively checking that phone, and sometimes checking apps I just checked. It is so difficult because today the amount of time that we spend checking the phone and rechecking the phone, et cetera, is time we could be sitting down writing what it is that we would like. Looks like we've got a spammer here. I'm going to blast him out of here and block the user. There we go. It's good to know we're successful enough that people are spamming us, jumping on and offering supplements and things like that. By the way, I wanted to touch on one other thing for those of you who are watching. There was a man who was direct messaging almost all the women who come on into this group every day. And he made it sound like he was really nice and sweet and everything, but he was flirting with every single woman. So if you get something like that and you feel uncomfortable, especially, let me know and also check it out. That's also building your life, creating the boundaries you need to have in your life. So you wouldn't build a city without plans, without knowing where it is you want to go. So decide where it is you want to go, and then the steps become easy and obvious. Roy Disney, the brother of Walt Disney. Most people know about Walt Disney. Most people don't know about Roy Disney, but there would be no Disney without Roy. Roy was the guy in charge of the money. Roy was the guy who doled the money out, but more importantly, raised the money when they needed the money. And Roy Disney famously said, decision-making is easy when values are clear. Let me say that again. Decision-making is easy when values are clear. So it's much easier to just flounder around and to not experience what it is we want and be distracted. But we'll always be dissatisfied. We need to know where we want to go. And when we do, we'll begin to move in that direction.
No more complaining people. Their lives are changing. We're flying high, creating a complaint-free world. No more complaining people. Their lives are changing. We're flying high.